Loyal listeners, I want to apologize for the way that my sound is in this recording. My computer literally crapped out after this, but the content of the podcast is so good that my team got it to where it's bearable, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again.
All right, you loyal listeners. Welcome to another episode of Agency Intelligence Podcast, where I give you that real agency intelligence and not the artificial that they try to make you believe out there. I'm back, and I know you read it before you saw it. He probably posted, or I did, and you're excited about it. This is Mr. David Carothers. David, it has been a while, my friend.
Dude, it's been a long time, man.
Long time. I don't even really know. I mean, it's been 3-4 years since we at least did a podcast.
Probably.
Yeah, and where you loyal listeners are going to get a treat. It's been probably a year plus since Dave and I have actually had a chance to sit down and just talk to one another. And David is super busy right now, and that's what I really want to talk about today. So, David, man, welcome to the podcast. I greatly appreciate having you. Let's talk about all the stuff you're doing.
We'll talk about the stuff. We'll talk about the stuff I can talk about, man. Stuff's not good for public broadcasting, but no, it's been crazy. I'd love to tell you that I've been busy doing a bunch of wild stuff, but I haven't. I've had my head down in the agency, staying busy here, which has been good. I've got my fingers in a lot of stuff, and all of that stuff's kind of just doing its thing without me having to invest any more time than I already have. And so with Grayson coming on board in the agency, I had to pull back a little bit, or a lot actually, just to get inside the agency and build out the one thing I said I would never do, which is personal lines. And we're absolutely crushing it right now, which is crazy.
Great.
He's got the temperament for it. It's a different sales philosophy, a different cycle, different automations that you have to use. It's certainly not something that I'm interested in other than the revenue associated with it coming into the agency to give us, a little bit better foundation. Dude, I've been building the house. I've been building the foundation under the house for the last 10 years.
True.
I built the house first, and now I have to try and figure out the foundation. And we've done that. He's done really well, man. In his first 14 months, he wrote $1.2 million of premium, and none of that's homeowners. That's all auto, umbrella, and flood, because we didn't we didn't have the home markets. And this past probably 2 months, I've spent time going in and building out all of the offerings we needed to have for home too. So from a personal line standpoint, we are the strongest that we have ever been, which wasn't hard. It was a very low bar to accomplish, but we can compete with about anybody at this point. We've been very fortunate. We've gotten appointed by everybody that we've approached. They've bought into our business plan. And this is a piece of advice that I would give to agents out there. If you want to change how you have conversations with your underwriters, your company people, if you're one of the masses that always talks about how I can't get appointments, nobody's appointing, that's not true. You can absolutely get appointments if you can make a compelling case, just like you can get hired to represent somebody in the marketplace if you make a compelling case. The difference is, instead of me just creating a business plan with a bunch of smoke and mirrors and a fancy presentation, we've actually brought the people that we were courting for appointments in, and we've opened up the CRM. We've showed them how we build our ads. We've showed them the automations. We've showed them the lead flow, because we have had just an incredible amount of inbound leads come in. In the last 30 days, we've had over 500 leads for personal lines come into the agency. And that's a testament to the systems that we've built, that we can even handle all of that. But you walk into a carrier and say, hey, we had 500 leads come in last month alone. Yeah, right. Whatever. We don't be the person to tell, be the person to show.
There we go.
If you show them what you're doing and you let them buy in. And the other thing is, when we approached them, my questions were really pretty elementary. Tell me the zip codes where you're competitive, you have capacity, and you're underserved by the agent population not sending you business, and we will build the marketing plan specifically for you as a carrier. So each one of these carriers we have in here has a different underwriting appetite. I mean, I know that if a house is one age, it's going to go to Heritage. If it's another age, it's going to go to Security First or American Integrity or wherever. So instead of me having them all compete on the same things, which is what a lot of people do, just pop it in the radar and let it go, I don't want my numbers to be jacked up, man. If I know something's not going to fit into a specific place to begin with, I don't want the rater going there just to get the declination, because it shows up dropping our close rate and our quote to bind rate and all of that stuff. So we want to give them exactly what they want. That's what we've been focused on doing, and we built the technology around it to make sure it happens, and it's happening. So it's been a pretty good run.
So, David, we were talking about you yesterday, and David, I always get his name wrong. Your tech guy, David LaFarve.
David Lefevre.
We were talking about you guys.
It would be awesome if it was LaFarve and he just walked around in a Packers jersey all day, but yeah.
That's creative. So if all you little listeners don't know, I also do the front cover for the Rough Notes, and we do that once a year. And I can't actually say it yet. I was just thinking about, so I was interviewing this person, and if you know who he is, David, don't say their name, okay? And they were talking about how they get around 1,200 leads a month. And I was like, wow. And he told me that he had recently in the last year or so moved to HubSpot, and how he literally has everything coming in now. He doesn't, I think he says he uses Now Search a little bit for some kind of thing, but it comes through there. And David had built out this thing to where now his management system is basically HubSpot. And I know that's something you've been wanting to do for a long time. Is that kind of what you're doing now?
Yeah. They learned to shave on my face, man. I mean, that's how it works. Like this is a real thing at this point. And I'm not at liberty to discuss too much, other than we've remained very, very quiet, and there's a lot of people that are fixing to know who we are.
Yeah. And David, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to bring up. That's ironic that yesterday I'm talking to this gentleman. He puts it 100% to the reason why. Then you come in, and now you're up at the 500. That obviously made me connect the dots really, really fast. So that's cool. That's cool.
I've got a feeling I know who you're talking about too. I'm not going to guess, but I'm pretty sure I had lunch with him last week when I was traveling. So
there's not a lot of agents that are getting the leads, 500, let alone over 1,000. On a 22-day scale, he's getting anywhere between 35 to 50 leads a day.
Yeah, that guy, they're an absolute animal. We're nowhere near where they are. I mean, honestly, man, we did really, really well. It doesn't really, that part of it has nothing to do with HubSpot or the marketing stuff. We did all of that with people who we do our marketing with. But which is not my HubSpot guy, completely different animal. Where he came in was making sure that it didn't blow up when the leads came in. So like I was telling the story to some people yesterday on the boot camp that I did. And I just said, it's like John Taffer walking into a bar for bar rescue. You got to do a stress test. So like we opened it up and we got hammered like the first weekend. We figured out all the places where we had to plug the holes, and we went in and redid the automations and fixed it. The next week it was a little better. The next week it was a little better. And then finally by the fourth week of the month with it, we launched all of this stuff. Everything was running exactly as it was supposed to, which is huge because if you're going to scale an agency at this point, you can't do it with human talent alone. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. I know there's a bunch of you out there that still send out Courier and Ives calendars on your co-op dollars at Christmas every year, but you're probably not listening to this podcast anyhow. So I'm safe to say it. But the reality is, like, you can't have an office full of people that are trying to call every person who expresses interest and compel that person to send you what you need. You have to use text. You have to use voice. You have to use, you can use email reminders. You know who gets personalized phone calls for us? The people that we have time to call after we've served everybody who actually follows the process of going through the funnel the right way.
Ooh, that's good.
So Grayson's not wasting his time calling everybody in stage one of the funnel. That's where we were in the first week when he walks in on a Monday morning and there's 135 leads in there and he's freaking about how he's going to get all of them on the phone. And I'm like, this isn't going to work, man. This isn't sustainable. It's not scalable. There's no way. We've got to make sure we do these three things that should have already been done. Next week we come in and then finally it's like, look, man, you leave them in stage one. We'll hit them with email. We'll hit them with text. And they're either going to tell us to screw off or they're going to give us what we want. Either way, we're not wasting man hours on trying to get a hold of these people. And that's part of the disconnect for me, man. When I deal with people in middle market, you walk in, you have what you need. I only have to ask most of the time one time because they understand how the deal works. They're used to buying insurance. Our industry has done an absolutely terrible job of teaching the average consumer how to buy or how to even use insurance should it be used. And, I think that one agency at a time, taking educating the consumer seriously, we can turn it, but it's not going to happen overnight. And it's a really difficult thing, especially here in Florida. We didn't have any storms this year, but people are still getting, so far anyhow, people are still, getting increases on their renewals, or they get increases on auto and they've never had a claim. And nobody takes the time to explain reinsurance or risk pooling or why all of this stuff works. Too many people think insurance is a savings account or an investment where they're supposed to get a return, as opposed to just insuring against the worst day of their life. God forbid it happen.
I tell you what, I have a son in the business, as you know, and it's really gratifying to hear what Grace is doing. He's a fantastic guy. I mean, I remember you were bringing him to these things when he was 19, 20 years old, when he was coming to these events. And there's nothing better to believe in your son, but also be able to work with him. Changing the conversation, tell us about this, your third season of your, I like to always say, your competitive game show.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I probably wasn't even going to do it again. And over the course, it's been at least 2 years. I've had people, pop into my DMs and say, "Hey, are you ever going to do another season? Are you ever going?" And it's like everything else in my life, man. I'm not smart enough to figure it out the first time, or even the second, or the third, or the fifth, or the sixth. But when 10 people ask me a question, I'm ready to move on it. There's obviously a trend here, right? Yeah. And really, that's what it was. Is so many people had reached out to say, "Hey, look, if you're going to do this, I want to throw my hat in the ring." That I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to go on record here and say this too. I have a problem with the industry at large based on the demographic that applied for this. Okay, because I think we can all agree with the fact that whether it be minority or race or creed or whatever, the insurance industry is largely imbalanced, and we are where you and I are the demographic that it favors.
True.
Me more so than you because I got more white in my beard. But I put the thing out for the Protégé, and we had 150 people apply for it, and I decided that I didn't want to kill. Like, being transparent, I didn't want to kill myself this episode in terms of all the work that it requires. And so I was going to cap it at 9 people. We had 1 female out of 556 people.
Oh
apply,
my goodness.
Which blows my mind, right? Because the first season we had a couple. The second season, it was almost 50-50. Season 3, and she got through, and I want to be very clear, she got through because she deserved to get through. I did not put her through because she was a female, but we had 1 female, we had 1 African-American, and, that's it. But People, the opportunity is there. So here's what this is what I want to get out now, because it needs to be out sooner than later. And that is, we will do season 4. There has been so much buzz around doing season 3 that if I can execute at half the level that I need to, it will still carry a lot of momentum into a season 4.
Great.
People, I need you to step out of the shadows and get into the spotlight. We are going to showcase you and help you, and hopefully change some of that imbalance in the perception of the industry. But man, when I started putting up the pictures of the contestants and all of that, I'm like, my God, like, this is exactly what's wrong with the entire industry. And here I am right behind it, putting it out for everybody. But in my own defense, I didn't have a choice, man. I can only pull from the talent that was willing to put themselves out there. But we're very much in an industry where if you put yourself out there, I firmly believe you'll be rewarded for it. Doesn't matter what it is that you do, you will be.
It was one of the main catalysts. Not only was this podcast overdue, but I saw the Protégé coming out. I know how much work you put into that. It is an absolute bear for you. Besides with Grayson and running the business and traveling around and speaking and all the things you do for your community. And you told me you're getting ready to be gone for the rest of the day here because you got to go see a bunch of businesses and do some loss control. That's why I wanted to get the exposure on. I'm glad you did mention that. And I hope, listeners, you're listening to him, because when he does Protégé 4, I mean, if you're anything other than a male, stale, and pale white guy like me and him, please, I mean, we need to expose that. And they're out there. We are growing in women. We are growing in other nationalities. And it'd be great for them to get on and see that exposure that you're giving everybody. Really,
it's
David.
Man, I was in Colorado last week. I spoke at their Next Gen Symposium, which was a really good time. They did a great job with that event. But 50% or more of that room was female. And you don't see that everywhere you go.
Wow.
It was
That's
actually
cool.
really, really impressive. So I was happy to see that. And, for me going out and speaking, knowing that I'm talking to a room of people that's not typical for the industry gives me a little extra motivation, a little extra energy to bring it more than I normally would.
And David, how are the boot camps going? I know you said you just did one. Well, how are those going, man?
We did one yesterday. They're fine, man. We try to put stuff out for anybody and everybody and every kind of packaging that we can. The reality is everything I do gets recorded, right? Well, most things, I should say, not everything. But for professionally, everything I do gets recorded and it gets turned into content. So when I do those boot camps and go for like 7 or 8 hours in a day, it's solving multiple problems, right? It's number one, it's educating people who want the education, but it's also giving me brand awareness. It also gives me the ability to create blog content, video content, reels, TikTok, shorts, all of that. I probably got 3 months worth of content out of 7 hours of my time yesterday, but it's good. Yesterday's was different because I feel like it was a little bit more interactive than what a lot of them are. Most of the time I just get up and grip and rip for 8 hours and everybody holds on and hopes for the best. Yesterday, we actually got to have some dialogue around it and really dive into questions that people had and things they're struggling with and troubleshooting some of the issues they're facing in their agencies with the people they work with, and even just struggling to figure out how to make their way in the world of commercial.
When's your next one?
Whenever the next month with 5 Wednesdays is, because that's the only time I do them. I do them. I do a boot camp on the time where there's 5 Wednesdays, because the way Killing Commercial and Power Producer Base Camp are set up, I do 4 weekly calls, one every Wednesday at 1:00 Eastern. So if there's a 5th Wednesday, I don't have a topic and I don't have one on the schedule. So I throw a boot camp in, try and bring people into the community that way. So
yeah,
I don't know if December has 5 or not. I know that and sometimes I usually try and do one a quarter. So I always fit one in. It usually ends up right before Producers in Paradise, the day before, literally. Like I go for a whole day and then go down there and unplug, not for the weekend, because then I go from busy to ridiculous.
Come on, tell me about that. Come on, that thing is growing, David. I was there at the beginning, and you're doing I have not went the last 2 years. Shame on me, but I tell you, I'm going next year. Tell me about Producers in Paradise, dude. I hear so much good stuff about that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's morphed, it's grown. My one thing has always been I don't want it to be the same as everything else. It has to have its own vibe, its own flavor. This year, for the first year, we're actually going to be in like an actual venue instead of us, putting together a place where we could all sit at one of the bigger bars somewhere. So we rented out the Cuban Club down there in Key West. So we're going to actually have room for between 350 and 400 people this year in the air conditioning, which is nice. And we've got a pretty incredible lineup of people that I'm bringing in to speak. It's also going to be the finale of season 4 of Protégé. But I think that, based on the way that it's grown and just it's grown in a few ways. It's grown in attendance, but it's grown in support from the industry, because it's been, I found it really interesting from a sponsorship standpoint, how many people want to be part of something that's not part of the same narrative. And I'm sure you ran into the same thing with Indie Tech being set up as a different event. People want to be part of something new. They don't want to go and be stuck at a booth where they have to try and compete for people's attention and everything else. And that's one of the things I've been adamant about since day one is I want you to be, if you're in, you're part of the family. You participate in the event with us, anything that's part of it, you have, carte blanche to be part of that. We want you to be there to make friends and build relationships. You don't have to worry about selling. That will take care of itself. And, the number of people that reach out and want to contribute has been honestly very, very humbling. I've told quite a bit no, because I don't like, this isn't a multi-million-dollar budget event. And it's going to be really cool, man. I can't say too much about it because I actually put together a board this year, like an advisory board, so that I'm not making all the decisions unilaterally, even though, I can. I want other people to contribute and have a say so that the community as a whole feels there's representation. So I've got sponsor people that are on the advisory board so they can have the ear for all the and the mic for all the sponsors. I've got people that are agency owners, people that are producers. I tried to mix it up as much as I can, but the number one goal is for everybody to come and actually learn something that they can immediately apply as soon as they go back.
That happens.
Number two, that they have experiences that they might not otherwise have. The thing that's always been important to me is that the event is very experiential, whether it be the offshore fishing or the eco tour or the sunset cruise. This year, we're doing some stuff with jet skis. We rented out the rum distillery to have a private rum tasting at Papa's Pilar rum distillery. Wow. Like all kinds of cool stuff. But I want it to be something where people go back and say, I remember that time where I did that. And it wasn't just because it was an insurance event. It was something that they got to experience they otherwise wouldn't have. And the other thing I think that's really important about that event, that's extremely important to me, is I require, as much as I can, spouses to participate in that. I think that's something that the average producer doesn't necessarily understand or appreciate when they see it happening like this is normal. But the reality is this is a stressful industry, man. And anybody who's ever started out with nothing as a producer or started as a scratch agency knows the amount of stress that it can put on you. It can put on your spouse, your family at large, people who work with you. And one of my goals, especially with people wanting to move into middle market where there's more dollars at play, which means there's more stress. It's a longer sales cycle, so more anxiety while you wait and nurture the relationship, was making sure that support structure that the producers and agency principals have at home, that support structure has their own. And if I can take the spouse of a new producer or a scratch agency owner and get them into an environment, it's almost like the dinners in Goodfellas, man. You bring the new people in the mafia into the old people in the mafia. But you get these people at the table, and the wife says, "Look, I get it. I remember the boxed macaroni and cheese days. We're on the other side of it now, but this is what you can expect, and it's not going to be this way forever. Here's how you can best support your spouse." And I want to be clear, it's not just wives. We have plenty of female agency principals and female agency or female producers down there, and it is a spousal support thing. We have, Chad Bartley, Jordan Hagopian. I could keep naming like the husbands of the females that are there, but we have really, really grown in that in terms of having female representation in the community. That's something that I'm extremely proud of. But knowing that we're not just focusing on here's how you win in business, but here's how you win in relationships in your life, and let us give you a support structure to help make that happen and make the road a little easier for you to traverse as you try and build your book, then I'm all for it, man, because that's stuff I didn't have. Me coming into the industry as a producer cost me my first marriage, and I'm not going to let that happen.
It's true. It's very true. You have an incredible story, and that we talk about that in the last couple podcasts that we have done. Closing up here, I want to ask, so this thing that you and Grayson have here, where you're going to release, I think you're going to do one thing for 365 days. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so when Grayson started working at the agency, he had some unfortunate luck with driving, which led to him riding with me to work every day. And I'm cool with it because it gives me more time with him before he leaves me forever. But,
true.
We just decided that it would be a good use of our time, instead of him coming and standing at my office door when he had a question, come up with your questions and ask me on the way to work. And then I decided, this is gold. Like, how many other new young producers want to ask these same questions? So we did the TikTok show, Carpool Closer. And it was literally just him asking me a question every day and me answering it in under a minute or less, so that it would qualify as a reel. And partway through it, I was, what we had changed, what we were going to do is he was going to ask the first half, and then I was going to flip the mic and ask him the second questions for the second half. And then I said, you know what, let's just kill this thing at like 365 episodes. We'll take the transcriptions, we'll expand on it, and we'll turn it into a daily sales reader. So that's actually where Driven to Close, the book that we just released on 10/1, came from. Is it's an expansion of those questions, answers, thoughts to reflect on in a motivational quote as a daily sales reader. And so the book is designed, you read one lesson a day for the year. And then I said, you know what, let's take this a step further. Let's just turn it into a daily podcast. We're only going to do 365 episodes, but instead of, me answering the questions in the book and all of this, why don't I ask the questions? And now Grayson can talk about how this has actually come to life, or he's used this information, or has decided he likes to do it a different way better. He's got his own ideas about things, but really just 10 minutes a day for 365 days, just diving in and being even more focused, but having it, instead of being my perspective, have it be his perspective with just me giving just a little bit of seasoning that I sprinkle on it.
So I want to let all you loyal listeners, it's Dave. David's busy, and so you said it earlier, that enough people slid in your DMs that really motivate you, and so I'm going to encourage you to slide in his DMs, and we need another karaoke Friday is what we need to get, David.
You know what, man? It's funny
enough, back from COVID, man.
Dude, I actually was thinking about that over the weekend.
If you guys weren't around during COVID, because you maybe didn't know David, what was it, on Friday nights? I think he would do like karaoke
whatever night struck our fancy. We did not limit it to the weekend.
And we would Facebook Live it, so everybody slide into his DMs, say, "Hey, you need to do another karaoke night."
Do it. Give me the requests. We can make that happen. That's not a problem. I know exactly how to. I know the recipe that makes that happen.
That was so great. Danny, I appreciate your time, dude.
Yeah, man.
I feel as if I'm familiar with what you're doing. I wanted to give you the exposure to get everybody out there. Remember what he said. He's going to do Protégé again. If you are someone that's listening to this, please be sure to sign up for that. And also, you're going to see over this course of, give me more about that. So do you release videos? How do you update us on 3?
This is so crazy compared to, you know how it is, man. When you're building something specifically, you can't just do it exactly the way you did it. It's got to get a little bit better every time. And I think one of the best things that could have happened was taking a couple of years off. But the one thing that I did this year, and you know this from being part of season 1, and I want to make sure everybody hears this and realizes it's 100% true. The one thing that I tell everybody, if you're willing to put yourself out there, the things that I can guarantee you is I will give you 100% of my best effort to teach you and help you try to be successful as much as possible. And the other thing is I guarantee you that I will not make you look bad. And I want to be clear. I give very direct feedback that is recorded when I go through people's stuff. That doesn't mean that's what makes the final edit. But I'm not doing anybody any favors if I don't tell them how they can get better or what I think is going to work. I also tell them what I think would do very well for them. And so this year, the one thing everybody obviously bought into those promises, but the other thing I encouraged is stick around the whole time. Guys, you entered a competition where 8 of you are going to lose. We all know this right now. We know 8 of you are going to lose.
Well said.
And so you have to understand that the real victory is the fact that you're already here. And you are going to have access to minds and people that you might not otherwise be able to have access to, because I've got a lot of friends that I've been blessed with that are willing to invest into other people because people invested into them. And so one of the things that I did differently this year was every Friday at 3:00, I have an open call for every contestant, and I bring in a guest mentor to talk to them about something in the industry, something they need to know to help them ultimately be successful, whether they win the show or not. So the first guest was Derek Hayden. I had to bring him in because he won the first season, right? And everybody needed to hear how that happened. Last week on Friday, it was Charles Specht.
Charles, yep.
For like an hour, Charles and I, by all practical purposes, most people would think that we're a competitor, but neither one of us has a scarcity mindset. I'm not concerned about somebody hiring Charles to coach them and not hiring me. It's like I told the cast of the Protégé, how many Italian restaurants are there in the United States? Every one of them has a different recipe for sauce. You pick which one you go to based on what your flavor profile is.
True.
Some people like Charles, some people like me, some people like both of us, some people don't like either one of us. We're okay with it. But there was a really cool dialogue because Charles and I have never actually been in a coaching environment where he's saying something and I'm saying something. And, by and large, most of what we talk about lines up anyhow. It's just a little bit of a different spin. But the thing that I think that's a really cool thing for everybody this season is knowing that they're going to have a dozen guest mentors for the next 3 months worth of Fridays that are going to go deep with them for an hour. And what I haven't told anybody else is I've got 3 what I would consider mega guests that they're not from the insurance industry. They're legitimate salespeople that have been highly just very, very highly successful people. And I think that's going to be an interesting twist too. But still, you know how it is, man. Always a couple tricks up my sleeve, and there's some that I'm not going to tell you. But
well, and I love it. I love this industry. I love being dedicated to it, and you embody that. So I do appreciate it. Hey, remember, slip in his DMs. We want some more of that karaoke. But David, I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much for everything that you do, man. I appreciate everything that you've done for me and everything you've done for everybody out there. So thank you. Appreciate it very much.
That goes both ways, man. It's hard to believe it was 6 years ago that Whale Hunting 101 hit.
That's right. It was in June of 2019. If you want to go back, you can listen to when
still probably my favorite podcast of all time.
It really was. So you guys know, you probably heard me say it before. He called me. He said, Jason, I want to talk to you. I've got some great stuff. He talked for 5 to 10 minutes. I said, Bo, stop. We have got to get this on a podcast. And we got met back a couple of days later. It is Whale Hunting 101. And it was in June of 2019. David, I appreciate your time. All you loyal listeners, you know what I do because I do it for you. Tell me your thoughts and tell me your ideas, and I'm going to tell the world what you have to say. This has been Cass. He's Carothers, and we are out.